And I'm trying to spend this hour sort of sending out a warning, sending out a little bit of a red flare, because I know lots of Christians who are involved in various forms of New Age medicine. They don't know it. In some cases, they may know it, but I think most don't know it. And we find that behind a lot of the New Age medicine is a kind of spirituality that's only going to lead you into dark places. And that's what we're very concerned about. And Jill, you reference kinesiology. I don't want to quite leave that yet. And that's this muscle testing. I don't think there's any listener that hasn't observed somebody having their muscles tested.
Yeah. And there are some that will try to separate and say there is kinesiology, which is the testing of muscles, and that there are many medical studies that support that. Some will say that. But there is a taking and twisting of whatever might be good there into what's called applied kinesiology, where they test the muscles to try to establish a pattern of weakness throughout those muscles, which are causing your symptoms, and then they prescribe based on that pattern of weakness. And there is nothing scientific about that, and is often deeply linked to Hindu philosophy and teaching.
As I introed the program, we're looking at things that affect body, mind, and spirit. I mean, that's what the alternative practitioner will say. They want to affect body, mind, and spirit. Well, that's where it gets a little bit dangerous, folks. Right, Eric?
Oh, exactly. I mean, you think about Dr. Oz, he's doing exactly that, to back up just for a second. And he's a follower of Emanuel Swedenborg, who is a scientist, but also a Christian mystic who put together a plan for how to bring heaven to earth and really rewrote Christian doctrine. So that's the kind of dangerous stuff that people fall into. By the way, Dr. Oz's wife is a Reiki master. You're getting it all over the place, folks, I'm telling you.
Jill, aromatherapy. What is possibly wrong with tapping into the fragrances of nature? What can be possibly wrong with that?
I think what God made is beautiful, and in many instances it's powerful. There are things in aromas that really can help you. They can calm you, and if you take it from that perspective, that in my mind is glorifying God and innocent. But when you have people involved in the New Age movement, Reiki healers and others who take this aromatherapy and weave it into the practices that they are doing and say that these actual aromas can access or influence the energies within your body, then you have problems.
Yeah, and the same thing is true with the color therapies, too. I mean, it's no secret that if you put a red cape in front of a bull, he charges. And, it's the same is true with the idea of calming. But then they introduce, of course, the other stuff, the mystic stuff, the spiritual stuff, besides just the way that our minds react to different colors.
Yeah, it's always pulling in a power other than God. It comes back to the same thing. Like, Solomon said, there's nothing new under the sun. The same old thing. And they work with human beings, which is why Satan keeps using them.
I teased here in the last segment that I kind of wanted to reference at least hypnosis. And apparently your dad, Dr. Walter Martin, thought that there could be some positive use of hypnosis. I was hypnotized at one time. I have nothing good to say about it. I was very young. I don't think I was even 20 yet, but I think we need to be careful with this. We're kind of going into an altered state of consciousness, which is never a good thing.
Yes, he looked at it as a tool, and he said it depends on who's using the tool. And I agree with that. I also think that for my own personal choice would be not to use it because I hate the feeling of not being in control. So why would you want to open yourself up to someone else's influence or words? No one's there listening, usually. It's just you and the practitioner. So to me, yeah, it's a tool, but it can be used in a variety of bad ways. That's also responsible. Hypnosis has caused huge problems for past life regression, taking people back and back and back. Glenn Ford, the actor, classic actor, Hollywood actor, he was regressed through hypnosis and said that he had lived thousands of years ago and took him down the very dark path of the occult. So it can be used in a terrible way.
Eric, reflexology, and you sent me a link here this morning that even the Mayo Clinic recommends reflexology. I think we need to explain what that is. It is a New Age practice, but I am surprised that Mayo is very approving of it.
Well, there is some science to it, only in the fact that the nerves in the feet especially can be connected, literally connected throughout the body. So, there is the sympathetic nerve system. So I understand it from that angle, but as we have harped on, and I don't mind harping again here, there. It is who is doing this and what other methods and ideologies are they introducing that would be as concerning for me as the idea of maybe finding if I had a bound up nerve in my right arm because my left foot had a particular problem. I'm just saying that because I don't understand all of the physical part of it. I'm not a doctor. Don't play one on TV. And so it's just a matter of who is doing it and what their end goal is. If their end goal is to introduce you to their favorite occult religion, then of course that's trouble, and we have to see it as such.
Okay, I may be walking into a landmine here, but then could we say the same thing about acupuncture? It might depend on who is administering the acupuncture, Jill?
Yes, I think we could. There have been scientific studies done on acupuncture, and if you kept it along the scientific path of electrical currents in the body, that's one thing. But if you have a Hindu or someone who is deeply rooted into this whole chi energy within us and how it flows throughout the body, and they're actually trying to apply Chinese Taoist philosophy or Hindu philosophy to the actual practice that they're doing on you of acupuncture, then you're going to walk into a very dangerous place.
Yeah, and we're not trying to say that just because it came from another country that is primarily of another religion, that it necessarily is evil. The problem is that in so many cases, this stuff just comes along. It's part of the baggage you get when you go down the road into these techniques.
Yeah, anytime they're going to say that there's a universal energy and that they're going to access that universal energy through whatever method they choose, that is a big red flag.
Sure is, yeah.
All right, well, let's sum this up.
1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 21 and 22. Test all things. Hold on to that which is good. In other words, that which is matching the scripture and that which came from God. But avoid every kind of evil. And as we said earlier, I think it's worth repeating, just because something works doesn't mean it came from God. And we have great sympathy for those who are looking for answers and not finding it in traditional medicine. But be careful that you go off into these things without the understanding of what might be lurking behind the next door. I'm not always looking for the boogeyman. That's not where I'm coming from at all. That's not where I believe we should be coming from as Christians. But there is a lot of deception out there, and it's going to do whatever it can to find you.
I think we should learn from God's relationship to Israel. God said to Israel, come to me if you have a problem, if you have a question, if you need healing, if you need anything, come to me. Don't go to these other gods. And that's what we see happening here today. We see Hinduism and all their deities spread out everywhere and being wrapped up and taking away from the good things of God. And people are going to that and being trapped into these kinds of things, whether it's applied kinesiology or twisted aromatherapy or Reiki healing. These are all things that are rooted in evil. And we need to recognize that evil and remember that it is God who heals us first and delivers us first. We go to Him first and reject this other evil.